London, 1983. A city humming with ambition, shadows, and secrets. Deep beneath a seemingly ordinary industrial estate, something extraordinary was protected. A fortress of steel and concrete, guarding treasures of immense value. Not just diamonds, not merely cash, but something heavier. More ancient. More coveted. This was Brink's-Mat, a name soon to be etched into the annals of criminal legend. A legend forged in gold. An unparalleled theft that would send ripples through the underworld, changing fortunes and claiming lives. It began quietly. With a plan. A very dangerous plan. Brink's-Mat International, a name synonymous with secure logistics. Its Heathrow depot was not just any warehouse. It was an impenetrable stronghold, guarding the nation's most precious commodities. Millions in cash. Sparking diamonds. And crucially, vast quantities of gold bullion. Experts considered it untouchable. Security protocols, state-of-the-art for its era, designed to repel any external threat. But what if the threat wasn't external? What if the vulnerability lay within its very walls? A trusted face. A hidden agenda. The prize was astronomical. On that cold November night in 1983, the vault contained an estimated £26 million in gold. Gold. Not just its monetary value, but its weight. Its density. 3 tons of pure, gleaming bullion. Enough to make men desperate. Enough to tempt betrayal. A sum that could transform lives. Or end them. It was a king's ransom, waiting. Unseen. Undreamt of by most. But for a select few, this gold was not a dream. It was a target. A meticulously planned acquisition. Every fortress has a weak point. For Brink's-Mat, it was a man named Anthony Black. A security guard. An insider. His role was crucial. His loyalty, seemingly unwavering. But beneath the surface, a different story unfolded. A story of mounting debts, of desperation. Of a man ripe for exploitation. He knew the routines. The blind spots. The access codes. He held the keys to a kingdom. And someone else knew it. Someone who saw opportunity where blacks are only burden. How does a security guard become entangled in a plot of this magnitude? The threads converge. Derek Clark, Black's brother-in-law, a man with criminal connections. He was the bridge. The unwitting link that would seal Black's fate. Clark introduced Black to the architects of the plan. Men who moved in different circles. Circles of shadow and ambition. They saw not a loyal employee, but a means to an end. A way into the vault. A way to unimaginable wealth. The true masterminds were a different breed. Mickey McAvoy. Brian Robinson. Hardened criminals. Experienced. Ruthless. They operated with a chilling efficiency. They saw the vulnerability. The opportunity. They understood the sheer logistical challenge of such a heist. Not just getting in, but getting out. And, crucially, disappearing the prize. Their planning was meticulous. Every detail considered. Every contingency debated. Or so they thought. The scale of the actual haul would soon test even their seasoned resolve. Weeks before the heist, quiet surveillance. The Brink's-Mat depot became a focal point. Not just its exterior, but its rhythm. Its pulses. Shift changes. Delivery schedules. The patterns of security patrols. Every detail was noted, absorbed. The movements of the guards, including Anthony Black. They watched. They learned. Building a composite picture of the target's routines. The calm before the storm. The meticulous preparation for a night that would redefine the meaning of audacity. The night of November 26, 1983. Cold. Dark. Perfect. 6 men arrived at Brinksmat. Armed. Ready. Anthony Black was already inside. A familiar face, now complicit. The plan was set. They would gain entry using Black's keys. Neutralize the other guards. Access the vault. A clean, swift operation. Or so the script read. But the best-laid plans often unravel. The unknown awaited them within those secure walls. A twist of fate that would multiply their ambition. And their danger. Entry was disturbingly simple. Black had disabled alarms, unlocked doors. The gang moved with practiced efficiency. No forced entry. No alarms blaring. Just a ghost-like infiltration. They overwhelmed the other security guards. Bound them. Gagged them. A chilling display of control. The depot, once a bastion of security, was now completely compromised. The first phase, complete. But the real challenge lay ahead. The vault. And the unexpected bounty it held. The vault door. A colossal slab of reinforced steel. The ultimate barrier. The gang had anticipated its formidable nature. Anthony Black provided the access codes. The combinations. A sequence of numbers known only to a select few. The tumblers clicked. The heavy door swung open. A moment of truth. They expected to find cash. Perhaps diamonds. A reasonable score. But what glimmered within was far beyond their wildest dreams. A vision that stopped them cold. Inside, not the expected cash or silver. Not even a fraction. Instead, stacks of gold bullion. Bar after heavy bar. Gleaming. Priceless. 3 tons of it. A staggering sight. This wasn't just a robbery anymore. This was history. The sheer scale changed everything. Their plan, conceived for a smaller haul, was instantly obsolete. Panic. Elation. The weight of the discovery. A sudden, terrifying realization they had stumbled upon something far greater than they could have imagined. Far more dangerous. 3 tons of gold. How do you move 3 tons of anything discreetly? Their getaway vehicles were insufficient. Their initial plans for disposal utterly inadequate. This wasn't merely a logistical hurdle. It was a crisis. The gold was too identifiable. Too heavy. Too much. A treasure beyond measure, now an immense liability. It couldn't be spent. Not yet. It had to vanish. To be melted, transformed, laundered. A new, far more complex phase of their criminal enterprise had just begun. Despite the logistical nightmare, they loaded the gold. Using forklifts from the depot itself. Crates of bullion, carefully transferred. Their vehicles groaned under the weight. The early morning hours approached. They had to be gone before dawn. Before discovery. They left the bound guards, the empty vault, and a scene of utter disbelief. Vanishing into the anonymity of the London night, leaving behind a silence that would soon erupt into a national sensation. The gold, for now, was gone. Hours later, the next shift arrived. The bound guards were found. The vault, gaping. Empty. The alarm was raised. Quickly. The sheer scale of the theft, instantly understood. £26 million in gold. Unprecedented. Scotland Yard was notified. A massive police operation swung into motion. Detectives arrived, facing a crime scene unlike any they had ever witnessed. The nation would soon awaken to headlines screaming of the audacity. The shock. The sheer, breathtaking loss. The immediate focus: how did they get in? No signs of forced entry. This pointed to one chilling conclusion: an inside job. Anthony Black, the guard on duty, became the prime suspect. His story crumbled under interrogation. The pressure. The inconsistencies. He cracked. Revealed his involvement. Named his co-conspirators, McAvoy and Robinson. The first crucial breakthrough. But knowing who took the gold was only the beginning. The harder question remained: where was it? With Black's confession, the faces of McAvoy and Robinson emerged from the shadows. Known figures in the London underworld. Their reputations preceded them. But this heist transcended petty crime. This was audacious. Organized. Yet, even for them, managing 3 tons of gold was an entirely different proposition. They were skilled at theft, but not at the complex, global art of money laundering. They needed help. A very specific kind of help. Enter Kenneth Noy. A name whispered with respect and fear in the criminal underworld. A mat of connections. A master of disposal. He wasn't involved in the initial heist, but he was exactly who McAvoy and Robinson needed. Noy had the network. The legitimate fronts. The international contacts. He could take raw, stolen bullion and make it disappear. Transform it. Turn it into untraceable wealth. He was the vital link. The alchemist of the underworld. Noy's plan was intricate. The gold had to be melted down. Its unique identity, its hallmark, erased. Large crucibles. Smelting furnaces. Hidden warehouses. These became the new processing plants for the stolen fortune. The gold would emerge transformed. No longer identifiable Brinks-Mat bullion. It would be recast into anonymous ingots ready for the open market. Or, rather, the shadow market. A colossal undertaking, requiring immense resources and absolute secrecy. Once melted, the gold began its journey. Out of Britain. Through a labyrinth of international banking. Offshore accounts. Shell companies. A global network designed to obscure. To confuse. To clean. The profits from the gold would funnel through various hands, emerging as legitimate-looking funds. Property investments. Business acquisitions. The true origin, buried under layers of financial complexity. A digital ghost in the machine. A phantom fortune. Detectives, however, were not idle. Intelligence gathered, whispers followed. Kenneth Noy came into sharp focus. Scotland Yard's flying squad, relentless. They knew Noy was involved. They just needed proof. Covert operations. Wiretaps. Undercover agents. They shadowed his movements. His meetings. His associates. Slowly, painstakingly, they began to unravel the intricate web. The scent of gold, still lingering in the air, leading them closer to the elusive truth. The first wave of arrests. Anthony Black, Mickey McAvoy, Brian Robinson. The core perpetrators. They were charged. Tried. Convicted. Black received 10 years. McAvoy and Robinson, 25 years each. A resounding victory for law enforcement. The men who took the gold were behind bars. But this was only half the story. The gold itself? Still missing. Still untraceable. Its value now amplifying the mystery. The true legacy of Brinks-Mat was yet to be fully written. Kenneth Noy, however, proved a far more elusive target. He was under intense surveillance. The police knew he was fencing the gold. Yet, direct, irrefutable evidence was hard to come by. His operations were too sophisticated. His network too vast. He was eventually arrested in connection with the laundering of Brink's-Mat gold. But Noy, a man of profound cunning, was not easily beaten. He maintained his innocence, preparing for a fight. A legal battle that would highlight the limits of the law. In January 1985, a breakthrough. Detectives monitoring Kenneth Noy's property made a critical discovery. Hidden. Buried. A small stash of gold bars. Uncut. Untransformed. Still bearing the hallmarks of Brink's-Mat. A sliver of the £26 million found beneath the nose of the mastermind. It was enough. Enough to link Noy directly to the stolen bullion. But this discovery would lead to tragedy. A deadly confrontation. A life lost. The discovery led to a tense standoff. Detective Constable John Fordham, part of the surveillance team, confronted Noy. A struggle ensued. In the chaos, Fordham was stabbed to death by Noy. A life extinguished. A stark reminder of the brutal stakes involved. Noy was charged with murder. A dramatic turn of events, exposing the raw violence simmering beneath the surface of the gold heist. The pursuit of the bullion was now stained with blood. Incredibly, Kenneth Noy was acquitted of John Fordham's murder on grounds of self-defense. A controversial verdict. It sent shockwaves through Scotland Yard. A detective, dead. His killer, free. Noy's ability to navigate the legal system, to manipulate circumstances, was chillingly effective. He was a survivor. But the acquittal only intensified the public's perception. A dark cloud hung over Noy. A man who seemed untouchable. Despite the murder acquittal, Noy's involvement in the Brink's-Mat money laundering operation was undeniable. He was eventually convicted for handling stolen goods and conspiracy to handle stolen goods. He received 14 years in prison. A victory, yes. But a hollow one. The majority of the gold remained missing. His conviction offered little solace for the lost bullion. Or for the family of John Fordham. The true cost of the heist continued to grow. The Brink's-Mat gold seemed cursed. A trail of blood, violence, and sudden death followed those who touched it. Or even knew of it. At least 20 individuals connected to the heist or its proceeds died violently over the next 2 decades. Shot. Stabbed. Blown up. The underworld's ruthless enforcement. The ultimate price for greed. This wasn't just a robbery anymore. It was a catalyst for a brutal, internecine war within Britain's criminal fraternity. Despite the convictions, vast sums of the gold remained unaccounted for. Melted. Moved. Invested. It seeped into the legitimate economy, fueling property developments, businesses, and lavish lifestyles. This wasn't merely stolen cash. This was untraceable wealth, creating a parallel economy. A ghost economy. The gold had been transformed, not just physically, but economically. It powered a new generation of criminals, establishing empires built on a foundation of stolen bullion. Who truly benefited? Not just the initial robbers. Not just the fences. But the unseen hands. The facilitators. The lawyers who advised. The bankers who asked no questions. The developers who accepted suspicious investments. A complex web of complicity. The gold wasn't just physical. It was a corrosive influence, corrupting institutions. Eroding trust. The heist exposed not only the vulnerabilities of a security depot but also the darker side of a seemingly legitimate world. The central question persists: where is the gold? Much of it, authorities believe, was indeed melted down. Recast. Sold. It entered the global gold market, indistinguishable from legitimately sourced bullion. A financial phantom. Some theories suggest portions remain buried. Hidden. A forgotten cache waiting to be discovered. But the vast majority simply dissolved. Vanished into the intricate machinery of global finance and organized crime. Its physical form gone, its impact undeniable. The underworld is ruthless. The Brinks-Mac gold ignited turf wars. Disputes over shares. Revenge killings. There was no honor among these thieves. Only a desperate scramble for a piece of the pie. The curse wasn't supernatural. It was the predictable consequence of immense wealth colliding with fractured loyalties and violent men. A chilling lesson in the true cost of ill-gotten gains. The gold fueled more than just luxury, it fueled bloodshed. Decades later, the Brinks-Mac heist remains firmly entrenched in criminal folklore. A legendary score. A cautionary tale. Its scale, its audacity, its violent aftermath. It reshaped the London underworld. It inspired countless stories, both true and exaggerated. The image of 3 tons of gold, whisked away under the cover of darkness, continues to captivate. A powerful myth, fueled by the tantalizing thought, what if a piece of it, still, remains out there? Undiscovered. The Brinks-Mac heist wasn't just a robbery, it was a watershed moment. It transformed the London underworld from a relatively localized affair into a globally connected enterprise. The need to dispose of the gold forced criminals to forge international links, to master complex financial instruments. It elevated their game. Created a new breed of sophisticated, transnational organized crime. The ripples of that single night in 1983 extended far beyond Britain's shores. Beyond the gleaming gold and the staggering sums, there was a profound human cost. Families shattered. Lives lost. Reputations ruined. Anthony Black, forever marked by his betrayal. John Fordham, a detective making the ultimate sacrifice. Kenneth Noy, a man who built an empire on violence and deceit, eventually facing justice for other crimes. The gold might have vanished, but the scars it left on individuals and society remained. Indelible. 30 years after that audacious theft, the shadow of Brinks-Mac still stretches long. The allure of the unrecovered gold persists. The questions linger. How much truly vanished? Who still holds a secret piece? The story continues to fascinate. A testament to the enduring power of a mystery. A constant reminder that some crimes, even when solved, leave behind a legacy of unanswered questions and lingering suspicion. A shadow that may never truly lift. Over the decades, police and various agencies continued to chase the ghosts of the Brinks-Mac gold. Recoveries were made. Small amounts. Occasionally. Often, it was found melted down, disguised. But these were fragments. Whispers of the original fortune. The vast majority remained elusive. A testament to the effectiveness of the laundering operation. A complex shell game, played across continents. The game of finding solid proof against a constantly shifting target. Even with convictions, many believed the full story had never been told. Other key players, perhaps. Higher up the chain. Or even those who benefited most subtly. The true extent of the gold's dispersal, and the individuals who profited, remained shrouded in doubt. Every new lead, every fresh inquiry, seemed only to uncover more layers of obfuscation. The deeper one dug, the more intricate the web became. A puzzle with too many missing pieces. The true riches from Brinks-Mac were not just in the gold itself, but in the connections it forged. The illicit networks it established. These networks outlived the original heist, becoming conduits for other criminal enterprises. Drugs. Arms. Fraud. The gold opened doors. Greased palms. It was the genesis of new criminal dynasties, powered by the seemingly limitless funds generated by the transformation of raw bullion into liquid assets. A dangerous precedent. The Brinks-Matt heist sent a ripple effect through the global criminal underworld. It became a case study, a blueprint for large-scale asset disposal. Other criminal organizations learned from its complexity, from its successes, and from its failures. It raised the bar for ambitious criminals, demonstrating what was possible with an inside man, a ruthless fence, and an iron will. A grim inspiration, teaching lessons that continue to resonate in the present day. The story of Brinks-Matt is an Icarus story. Flying too close to the sun. The initial exhilaration of the heist soon gave way to the overwhelming burden of the spoils. The gold itself became a source of paranoia, division, and ultimately, death. It promised freedom, but delivered entanglement. It promised wealth, but brought ruin to many. A vivid illustration of the destructive power of unchecked ambition and boundless greed. The precise number of lives claimed by the Brinks-Matt gold is debated. Some say 20. Others, more. The informal tally grows longer with each new revelation. Associates. Witnesses. Even innocent bystanders caught in the crossfire of the underworld's vicious score settling. Each death a testament to the gold's corrosive legacy. A constant, grim reminder that even when the physical gold vanishes, its dark influence remains, leaving a permanent stain. Even after numerous convictions and extensive investigations, the feeling persists that true accountability for Brinks-Matt has never been fully achieved. The money trail, so deftly obscured, ensures that many who profited remain untouched by the law. The crime's impact on Britain's underworld, however, is undeniable. It pushed boundaries, set new precedents, and cemented the notion that some crimes are too vast, too intricate, to ever be fully resolved. The aftermath of Brinks-Matt forged a new kind of criminal. Not just the smash-and-grab merchant, but the sophisticated, white-collar gangster. Those adept at financial alchemy, at navigating international law. This evolution of crime, hastened by the need to launder £26 million in gold, had a profound and lasting effect on how law enforcement had to adapt. They were chasing not just men, but complex financial ghosts. A new era of organized crime was born. Is the Brinks-Matt gold still generating wealth today? It's a question that fuels endless speculation. Properties, businesses, trust funds, all potentially seeded by those initial, stolen gold bars. The gold's physical form may be gone, but its financial progeny continues to thrive. A silent, invisible force shaping parts of the underworld and beyond. The theft continues to pay dividends, decades later, for those cunning enough to have remained in the shadows. Before Brinks-Matt, London's underworld was often characterized by distinct, local gangs. Post-heist, the sheer volume of gold forced integration. Collaboration. The merging of disparate criminal factions to handle the unprecedented challenge of melting, moving, and laundering. It broke down old barriers, creating new alliances and new rivalries. A forced evolution that forever altered the landscape of British organized crime. The glittering promise of the Brinks-Matt gold continues to exert a powerful pull. It represents the ultimate score. The dream of instant, unimaginable wealth. But beneath that shine lies a stark reality, the blood, the betrayal, the endless pursuit. The story is a potent cocktail of ambition and consequence. A reminder that some treasures, however magnificent, carry a price far greater than their market value. A price that is still being paid. From the moment the story broke, Brinks-Matt was a media sensation. It captured the public imagination. The audacity. The sheer scale. It dominated headlines for years, fueling a cottage industry of books, documentaries, and films. The crime became larger than life, almost mythical. The public devoured every detail, every twist, every new arrest. But beneath the hype, the core mystery persisted. The gold's final destination. For law enforcement, Brinks-Matt was a Pyrrhic victory. Key players were caught and jailed. The inside man identified. But the primary objective, the recovery of the gold, largely failed. It stretched resources, cost lives, and illuminated the growing sophistication of organized crime. It forced a re-evaluation of tactics, strategies, and international cooperation. A harsh lesson learned through the loss of a detective and the disappearance of millions. The heist sowed seeds of distrust within the underworld. Who was reliable? Who would betray? The lines blurred. Friendships fractured under the weight of the immense riches. The paranoia was palpable. It permeated every transaction, every meeting. The gold, meant to solidify power, instead splintered it. A constant source of suspicion, turning trusted associates into potential rivals. A psychological toll that contributed to the ongoing violence. So, after all the arrests, all the investigations, all the violence, where is the Brinks-Mac gold? The most likely answer is that it's everywhere. Dispersed. Diffused. No longer in its original form. Its atoms now part of 1,000 different enterprises. Perhaps a piece lies within the foundations of a new building. Or a luxury car. Or simply, a portion rests forgotten, waiting for the earth to yield its secret. A silent, glittering legacy of Britain's most audacious heist. The Brinks-Mac heist left a permanent mark on Britain. On its criminal underworld. On its law enforcement. It exposed vulnerabilities, ignited violence, and fueled an unprecedented expansion of organized crime's reach. A single night in 1983. 6 men. 3 tons of gold. It wasn't just a robbery. It was a catalyst. A historical turning point that redefined the meaning of audacious crime and its far-reaching, often deadly, consequences. The story of the Brinks-Mac gold, therefore, is an unending one. It lives on in the whispers of the underworld, in the pages of true crime, and in the persistent questions that haunt authorities. The gold itself may be physically untraceable, but its impact, its bloody trail, and its enduring mystery ensure that the legend of the £26 million heist that changed Britain's underworld will never truly disappear. A tale of greed, betrayal, and a fortune that simply vanished. The men who stole it faced justice. The man who fenced it spent years in prison. But the gold, its echoes, its progeny, continue to circulate. Who profits today? Who walks among us, unknowingly or knowingly benefiting from the largest gold heist in British history? The answer remains hidden. A secret woven into the very fabric of society. And perhaps, that is the most enduring mystery of Brinks-Mac. The gold is gone. But its power, undeniably, remains.